Hello folks, hope you're all keeping well. Just a quick one for you today. I'm going to go through an article here that Carparison have put together. I think these stats come from SMMT. It's basically the most popular EVs of 2021. I thought it was quite interesting to see what the biggest selling EVs have been, and maybe this gives us a little glimpse into how 2022 is gonna look. Certainly some of the brands you're seeing in here might come as a bit of a surprise with their position in the list. So let's have a look. We're going to start in reverse order. We're going to start with number 10. And I knew this one would be on the list, and I think it's probably going to be higher up next year because I think it puts together a compelling case for itself. It's the MG ZS. So MG have come to market with this range of EVs that tick so many boxes for people. The ZS has got a really decent electric range. It's really competitively priced and offers a bit of space, and it's an SUV, which SUVs are still really popular in this country, aren't they? So not surprised to see that on the list, and I think that's probably going to be higher up the list in 2022. That's my sort of gut feeling anyway, and I've got a fairly big gut. 5,380 of those sold according to these official figures. Next is the Corsa E. The Vauxhall Corsa is one of the biggest selling cars in the UK, sort of year after year. It always tends to be. So it's probably no surprise to see the electric version on here. If you know the standard Corsa, then you know pretty much this one. It is really a case of lift out the internal combustion engine in running gear and chuck in the electric stuff. So it's not like a bespoke EV model, you know, it's just a Corsa that happens to be electric rather than petrol or diesel. Having said that, they get a pretty good review, and yeah, again, make a good case for themselves because they're not too expensive. So for people doing short commutes and maybe younger drivers and people that live in busy cities with tons of traffic where it's difficult to park, all those kind of things, a little Corsa just might be the ticket for you, as might one or two others on this list. Renault Zoe. All right, so the Zoe's one of the original gangsters, really. It's one of the cars that kicked off sort of the mainstream EV revolution. And they haven't changed massively over the years. And they put together a fairly compelling package in a number of ways, apart from one, which I'll get into in a sec. So capable of travelling 239 miles from a single charge. It's practical rapid charging times, and its price also falls under the plug-in car grant. So that's all great, and evidently quite nice to drive, plenty of space. The bad thing with the Zoe is it's just got either a 1 or a 0 on the Euro NCAP crash testing. No, sorry, that's not good. That's not good at all. So have a look into that if you're interested in a Zoe. And I'm not telling you don't get yourself a Zoe, because I think they are good cars. But look into that, because if I'm putting my kids in a car with 0 NCAP, well, I'm not putting my kids into it. Right, number 7's the Mini. Now, I've been on a bit. I used to really like the Minis when they first came out, when they first sort of took on when BMW first took on the Mini brand and sort of revamped it. I thought the styling was really cool, and I really thought they turned heads, and I think they've just stuck with it too long. I like when a classic design stays for a long time, but I think it's had its day and it needs a little bit of a revamp now. And if I were in charge of that brand and the design of that brand, I'd be looking at something like the Honda E for my Qs, where I go and make something that looks like probably the original Mini, or certainly has more of a tip of the hat to the original Mini, and you know, makes it exciting and EV, and maybe like the 8-bit thing like they've done on the Hyundai. Those kind of, that retro modern sort of look is very cool in my book. Anyway, enough of my digression, as I always do. The Mini's a cool little car, and the EV version of it, you know, is proving to be very popular. As you can see, 6,500 of those in the last year. There are going to be more rivals this year, but there have been some good deals on these electric Minis, so let's see how that pans out. Right, the electric Kona is next at 7,200, more or less. The great thing with this is they're competitively priced, and you know, you've got them with a 300-mile range available. So it ticks a couple of big boxes for people. Range anxiety is a real thing, and I know we have to start grazing with our electric use rather than, you know, the old petrol mindset of you you fill the car up to full, you run it till it's empty, then you fill it up again. You know, we shouldn't be thinking like that with EVs, but even with that, 300-mile range is probably livable for a lot of people. Well, 150-mile range for a lot of people is just out of the question. If they're doing long journeys on a weekly basis or even a daily basis, this is going to be a lot more easy to live with because you've got that sort of headroom in the range. And Hyundai put together a very nice car nowadays, don't they? Audi e-tron. I've always been slightly underwhelmed by the Audi e-tron. I don't know why, because sort of historically, I've had quite a few Audis and I've enjoyed almost all of them. And a couple of them have been some of my favourite cars I've ever had. And I generally, I used to really like the build quality and the fit and finish and all that. And I think it's gone down a little bit recently. But with the e-tron, it just never blew me away because the range was never there, and I felt for quite a big car it should have done better, and certainly the real world range was not there. But they are very cool cars, and they've sold 7,396 of them, so there you go. Maybe I'm wrong. There is an Audi I do like though. That's the e-tron RS, which is a proper car. Right, Nissan Leaf, again with the Zoe, one of the original gangsters. I think they're great. I really do. I think they came in at a time when EVs were unaffordable for almost everyone, and came to mass market with a really affordable car that you can pack a bit of gear into, nice enough place to be, and a usable range. And I don't know what else there is to say about it, really. They're not the most exciting cars in the world. You can generally get one on a lease for a couple £100 a month, and for an EV, that's great. Right, next the Volkswagen ID3. I do like these. I've mentioned them a few times in my videos, and I think people get the impression that I really don't like them. They just don't blow my skirt up, so to speak. Once again, I think if they'd have made an EV that looked a bit more, or took a tip of the hat more from a Mark 1 Golf or even a Mark 2 Golf, I think it could have been very, very cool and might have just been the biggest selling EV. As it is, they've made the third largest selling EV in the ID3. So it sold 11,000 of them. Several different options. You can get them with quite a decent range. Looks a bit too much like they've tried to draw something from the future to me, but still managing to be slightly dull. But it's just personal opinion. I might end up with one, you never know. They've got a nice enough cabin, they've got good range options, and they put forward a decent case for people to go and buy one. Probably just not top of my shopping list, but that shouldn't sway your decision in any way. 11,300 of those were sold. Right, next is the Kia Niro. Absolutely no surprise about this. Again, because they've got a decent range and they're not breaking the bank. And Kia have got that reputation now for putting together very good, solid cars. 12,271 of those sold last year. Arguably the best electric SUV available for an affordable price tag. The E Niro offers up to 282 miles from a single charge. With an Kia E Niro lease, you have a family-friendly route into the world of EVs. There you go. That sums it up perfectly. Right, and finally, what a massive surprise this is. The most popular EV last year in the UK was the Tesla Model 3. The undisputed king of electric vehicles, the Tesla Model 3 reigned supreme in 2021. For a lot of people, it's got the cool factor. It's got that very California, Apple, trendy sort of thing going for it. A lot of people just want to be seen in a Tesla. I think they're a little bit odd looking. I don't think they're the best looking cars in the world, but I do like them still. I think they can be slightly Marmite, but I personally do like them. I just do get that they are a little bit odd looking, but cool, I think. I love the interior on it. Absolutely love the interior. I did a review in one of these. I had it for a couple of days, and there's a link to that up there, which I suggest you go and check out. But I absolutely loved my time with this car, and every day, I think, every day since I've had it, I've thought how much richer my life would be with a Tesla Model 3 in it. I really can't say enough about it. Looking back, I really, really enjoyed my time with that car, and I would love to have one. So there we go, 34,783 of those as the biggest seller. And when you look, number two's 12,000. It's a hell of a jump, isn't it? I mean, it's sold more than the 2, 3, and 4 put together, which is bananas. I must just say a quick thanks to Ryan at Carparison for putting this article together using the data from the SMMT. And yes, just a nice little video that I thought a few of you might like to see. So please give it a thumbs up and come back next time. See you soon.